At 200 meters below the surface, deeper than any commercial airplane flies high, a submersible light found something moving. It did not turn toward the light, it did not acknowledge the intrusion. It continued doing whatever it does in the dark, indifferent to the fact that human beings had finally arrived to witness it. When the footage came back, the team couldn't name it, not because they lacked the words, because what they were looking at didn't fit the categories they had built their entire understanding of life around. To understand what they found, you have to first understand what depth actually means. Most people think of the ocean in horizontal terms: width, distance, surface area, but the real geography of the ocean is vertical, downward, and it is almost entirely unknown. The deepest point in the ocean, the Challenger Deep in the Mariana Trench, is 200 feet down. That's 6 miles. That's 24 Empire State Buildings stacked in absolute darkness under pressure that would squeeze a car into a cube the size of a marble. We have sent exactly 3 people to that depth in the entire history of human existence. 3. In the same time period, we have sent 600 people to space. The ocean is not a frontier we cross. It is a wall we are pressed against from the wrong side. The creature was found in what marine biologists call the midnight zone, the Hadal depths where pressure reaches 1000 times what we feel at sea level. Your chest, your lungs, pressed from every angle by the weight of an ocean. That feeling, that pressure. Imagine your hand flat just below your collarbones, pressing inward as though the world itself had become a fist. That is the baseline condition 200 meters down. Everything that lives there has been shaped by that pressure for millions of years. Evolution down there doesn't work the same way. What the team found was approximately 18 centimeters long, translucent, bioluminescent, meaning it generated its own light in a part of the ocean where sunlight has not reached since before humans learned to make tools. But it wasn't the bioluminescence that unsettled the scientists. It was the morphology, the shape, the organization. The creature had no discernible sensory organs, no eyes, no ears, no lateral line. The structures we use to define how a creature perceives its environment, they weren't there. What it had instead was a series of chambers along its body that seemed to respond to pressure changes. Literal pressure, not sound, not light, not chemical gradients. Pressure itself was the sense it had evolved to read, that reframes everything. On land, we think of senses as windows to the world. Light enters through eyes, sound through ears. But in a place where pressure is the only constant, where it defines every moment of existence, an organism could evolve to read pressure the way we read light *. To navigate, to hunt, to recognize other organisms not by sight or sound, but by the subtle shifts in the water pressure around them. Imagine being a creature that perceives the world not as visual space but as topology, as a landscape of push and counterpush. The Mariana Trench region has 200 known species. Marine biologists estimate there are 2000 species in that zone that have never been documented. 2000, unknown, shaped by conditions we cannot easily recreate or understand. This new creature, this one that doesn't fit, it suggests something. The categories we have been using to understand life are too small. When it was first imaged, the team's first instinct was to classify it. Is it a cnidarian, a cephalopod, an unknown annelid? Every attempt failed. The creature didn't fit the branches of the tree of life we have been building for 150 years. It suggested the tree itself might be incomplete, or that we have been looking at it upside down. The genome sequencing came back 3 weeks later. The DNA was unlike anything in the database, but it was DNA. It used the same code, the same 4 nucleotides arranged in the same 4-letter language, but the structure, the redundancy patterns, the regions that should have expressed regulatory proteins, they were organized in a way that suggested either we had never seen this adaptive strategy before, or we had seen it and misread it as junk. Here is what the discovery forces us to confront. If life down there has evolved under those pressures for millions of years, and it has, then everything we think we know about the trajectory of evolution might be context-dependent. The pathways that life took on land, the eyes, the ears, the centralized nervous systems, the brain structures we believe are necessary for consciousness, maybe those paths were only available because of the specific pressures, literal and atmospheric, of our shallow world. Down there, evolution took roots we have never even hypothesized. The creature is not alien because it came from another planet. It is alien because it evolved in a place on our own planet that is more hostile to human understanding than Mars. The most striking part of the footage is what happens after the submersible light passes. The creature does not follow the light. It does not flee from it. It continues its slow, independent rotation through the dark, as though the intrusion had not registered, as though a human being shining a light at it from inside a metal chamber was not significant enough to acknowledge. And that absence of acknowledgement is the whole story. For billions of years, this creature has existed in conditions we could barely survive in for minutes. It did not wait for us to discover it. It did not evolve to be found. The fact that we finally arrived does not change what it is. We have crossed no frontier. We have opened a door and glimpsed something that was never waiting for us. Something that did not know we were there. Something that does not need us to know it exists. The The questions now are the ones that should have been obvious all along. How many other creatures live in the zones we have barely mapped? How many adaptive strategies has evolution tested in environments where our own instruments barely function? How many times have we walked past the extraordinary simply because we did not have the tools to see it? The ocean covers 71% of Earth's surface. We have mapped it with less detail than we have mapped Mars. The land underneath the waves contains mountain ranges taller than the Himalayas, canyons deeper than Everest is tall, ecosystems arranged in patterns we do not yet understand, and in the middle of it, in the pressure and the dark, life is still writing itself into forms we have never imagined. This creature, this one we just found, this one that forced us to expand what we think life can be, it is not the frontier. It is the proof that the frontier is still here. It is still breathing. We are only now developing the eyes to see it. The creature is in a research vessel now, held in conditions that replicate the pressure of its home. It is still alive. It is still moving through its tank the way it moved through the ocean, indifferent, purposeful, operating on a logic that has not yet been translated into human language. Scientists are taking samples, studying the genome, watching the pressure response behaviors, but the real question, the one that should keep us awake, is not what this creature is. It is what it means that something like this was waiting for us to arrive, under miles of water and darkness, doing exactly what it has always done, completely unaware that the world above had spent centuries believing it had finished the work of understanding life. It had not. The map is not filled in. The edge is not a frontier we crossed. The edge is a pressure against our chests, a reminder that we are still just beginning to understand what breathing, moving, living actually means.